Welcome to another episode of the Own It Show Weekly Winedown edition.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So, today we are drinking, it's a wine called Locations Wine. They have 7 locations where they get their grapes from and they make their wines. We're drinking the Italian version. They also have Spanish, French, California. Those are the ones we've had, but it makes for a really nice, really anytime wine. We would highly recommend it.
Yeah, very unique in how they do their labeling. It's just real simple, letter of where it comes from, and a little flag note, and different tastes from each region.
And it's great for a Sunday evening boat ride.
This is true.
So, today our show is going to be a little bit different. I'm sure you've noticed that Justin and I launched a new podcast called The Own It Show. And what we're going to be doing on the weekly wind downs going forward is breaking down what Justin and I learned in particular from the show that previous week. So this past Monday, we had Cardenas on the show. He brought so much energy, liveliness, and really just an amazing message of ownership is just being.
And when you think about what Kelly was talking about with ownership and just being, I'll tell the story. Is not 30 seconds ago we finished filming this episode of the weekly wind down, and as we finished up, we cheersed. We were like, yes, we nailed it, this is awesome. And come over to the camera and 0 recording. And you can imagine, to my frustration, that I'm just like, God, it was so good, we nailed it, it was perfect, it was the way that it was what we wanted. But then we come back and it's not there, it's not recorded. So we have some level of frustration, and Elise looks at me and she goes, Justin, just be. It wasn't meant to be that way. We're meant to do this again. And so lo and behold, just going back to what Kelly said, do you want it your way? Do you want it God's way? God's way is always 100 times better. So fully gave way to whatever was, I guess we weren't supposed to have it on the first take. It was supposed to take 2, and we were supposed to be able to tell this story, and we were supposed to be able to reach somebody in a different way that got them to truly see that just being has more to do with actually living it than just saying it, and being able to be where your feet are. Because again, one of my mentors talks about this example where if you're in a river, I mean, obviously right now we're in a lake, but if you look up lake or upstream, the water doesn't move. If you look behind you and you look downstream or down lake, the water doesn't move. But if you look right where your feet are, you see the water continuing to rush by you. And that is the key, is being where your feet are. You're able to be present, see things around you, understand the movements of things that are happening. And that's where the true power comes, to be able to react, to be able to appreciate and truly value everything that you are in the midst of and being present to.
It's so true. And I know that the example that Justin gave was so minor and low in intensity, but oftentimes when we go through a crisis or something that we find to be really challenging, we often let our emotions get the best of us and react in ways that maybe when we look back on it, we may not be so proud of. But when we allow ourselves to just be and to be present and to know and have that confidence, you know what, I'm meant to go through this. There are some crazy things that have happened in my life where I go back and I say, you know what, I now see. I couldn't see it. I was blinded when I was in it. You know, my emotions were so strong when I was in it. But now that I'm out of it, I understand the reason. And so if we approach the next situation, and this is something I consistently practice, next time I go into a challenging situation, I will say, you know what, the reason is not revealed to me yet, but at some point I will understand why I'm going through this. And as long as I practice presence and being grateful for what I have and whatever lesson it is that I'm meant to learn from the situation that I'm going through, you are able to show up in a completely different and powerful way.
And as listeners, you guys can actually practice that right now. No matter what you're doing, whether you're listening to this podcast in traffic, whether you're watching it on Instagram and you're waiting in line, whether you're getting ready and going and watching your son, daughter, spouse play a sport, whatever it may be, whatever way you're taking this in, it's understanding that if you're in traffic, you're in it for a reason. You are meant to be where you are. If you're stuck in line, there is a reason why. There's a story that's going on. We are such a microcosm to the bigger scope of what's actually happening in this world from the situations that other people are under. And if we can just be present, just understand that, and have that level of empathy in how we show up, and that level of ownership to just be, it's going to be amazing how our life radically changes to be different.
So I'll wrap it up by saying, I actually heard this on a podcast recently, that sometimes we can take some of the best lessons from our animals. And one of the things that I have certainly learned from Delano, who's sitting right here in front of me, is presence is everything. He is one of the happiest little things I've ever met, and he is consistently present. And if you have an animal, I'm sure you know exactly what it is I'm talking about.
So guys, you're going to hear us every Monday, every Saturday, on both the weekly Winedown as well as Couch Conversations, both now branded The Own It Show. And so if you guys feel connected, we're pulling everything together. One's going to build on the other. We're going to really have this informal, fun conversation that really drives the ability for us to truly live in ownership. And so be sure to subscribe, be sure to like, be sure to share this so that it can reach other people, so that the words that we're saying, the guests we bring on, are truly able to impact and empower those people around you, because we truly believe that if we have a tribe, if we have like-minded people, if we have people around us that challenge us, we can go through these 4 steps. We can gather information. We can all of a sudden create this maturation process. We can create a transformation, and then we can go and bring other like-minded people together in a tribe. So when we are able to do that, it's a really great thing, and success always comes from that process and from that integration. So success is different.
Be different, and own it.
And own it.
Cheers.